to get my hands to work. So if I can get my hands to work, and Ian is recording this for posterity, if I just move my hands in unison, I get to be ambidextrous. Now, I never thought that, and I'm really glad because somebody hurt my hand yesterday. So the ability to cast with my left hand is not a bad thing when you've got a pretty wonky right hand. So understanding how you function is as important as understanding how the fly rod functions. Now, in order to do that, has anyone played golf? Is anyone brave enough to admit that they play golf in the country pursuit area? That's the right answer, actually. Nothing. Good. But I'm told, I don't know this for sure, I'm told that executives, when they get really bored, there's probably a banker, I expect. Oh dear, there might be bankers here, sorry. Sarah's giving me one of those dark looks, say you've overstepped the mark again, Jardine. Oh dear. Anyway, when they're sort of making all these great big decisions, they're probably practicing their putting. Well, this is the equivalent of a fly rod putter. This is a little yarn rod, and you think, oh, it's a toy, really. You just make little sort of Chinese hoops and do all sorts of stupid stuff like that. But you know, in doing that, I taught myself, I learned more about the fly casting stroke than ever I do, because if I move the rod tip, then this yellow yarn stuff will follow its course, follow its path, the plane. So I can do all really stupid stuff like this, and then make a stroke like that. It's going to work. Now if I try and throw this, well, the actual yellow stuff, the dog's going to start whining at me. It's not going to go very far. I'll explain why. If I really try to throw this thing like that, I'm trying to keep up with the ferrets there like that, great big explosive voice, let's really throw this thing. Hasn't gone very far. But if I just move this rod tip, stop it, goes out nice and smoothly. Now that is because I'm harnessing the energy, I'm loading up a spring, that spring is momentarily unloading there, and then I'm reapplying that loading and out it's going. Now there are two basic casts. Once you understand that, you can go almost anywhere. There are two basic casts you need to know. That's all, two. I mean, we can all do that, two casts. It's easy. The roll cast. Now a roll cast is one of those casts that we use when we get into a little bit of a fangle. If we made a real haulage to the cast and it lands like that, don't worry, it happens. Things happen, go wrong. All you have to do is to bring this rod tip back. So we've got it almost like a tilting capital D. Here's a flat bit of the D, there's a round bit of the D, and then I'm just going to tap it forward like so. And it goes, as if by magic. It's kinetic energy. There, and it's gone. Now it's really handy if you've got rocks. Now I was explaining that when we got the real proper fly rod. That coffee looks very, very good. You can always see the steam coming out and you think, oh God, I could do that coffee now. Anyway, drawing this back here into that tilting D shape, that one. When you're that line straight, now a fly cast works because if I can get the end of the line moving, I've got a cast because I'm in direct contact with it. I can get and bring and maintain the spring and the tension and the loading in this whole system. So all I have to do there is raise this rod tip, stop it, tap it, and it will go again. Now those are the two basic casts. It doesn't matter what you do, you can double haul, you can go fishing in the sea, you catch big old 100-pound tarpon, you know, big, well, as big as, certainly bigger than midge, about the same size as those young fellas over there. They're huge, you know, tarpon things, sailfish, all sorts of things. But the casts that you need are exactly the same as the ones I've just done. Fishing tackle's different, but the actual way in which you use it is exactly the same. I guess, I don't know very much about shooting, I don't do shooting, I do fishing, but the guys with the guns will probably tell you the same thing, that you've got different calibers for different things. The way you shoot is exactly the same. I mean, it's like gun dogs. I mean, don't ask me about gun dogs. I've got a Labrador, he's trying to train me. I've given up trying to train me. What? Oh, look at that. There's a savage beast right there. Look at that. Oh dear. Anyway, so once we've understood the casting stroke, there are all sorts of different things. So what I really hate to see is somebody trying to really push the boundary, really trying to force the issue. It's trying to do that. It's just not going to work. Just gently hold that fly rod, lift and tap. And the cast is made literally by shaking hands. Now, I've got to be careful because, as I said, somebody, I know it's a long, painful story, literally, that helped me dislocate my thumb yesterday a little bit. So I've got to be very careful how I do this. So I'm going to say good morning over here. So I'm going to be very gentle. How do you do? How do you do? Good morning. No, he doesn't want to. How do you do, ma'am? Now what I'm doing here, hello, sir. How do you do? How are you? How do you do? How are you? Now what I'm doing is fly casting. How do you do? How do you do? How are you? I better go over here because, how do you do? How are you? Now, that movement there, bringing people into my life for that moment, and that handshake grip is exactly the grip that I would adopt when I was picking up one of these things, a fly rod. I've got to make it part of me. So it's the same when I was with that little yarn rod. As soon as I held that rod, it was part of me. It was doing stuff that I wanted it to do. Now I've got to make this rod to do exactly what I want it to do. It doesn't matter if I wanted to go over there towards Ian and that camera. I'm just going to parachute that down a bit, right in front of his lens. There. So you should see it drop out of the sky and down and through. I can aim it at that lens. I can be very accurate by how I move that rod tip. So I can make it move, I can make it go around the head, I can do anything I want with it as long as my hands are working in a way that's controlled. There. If we get bored with that way, we go that way. You see, men can multitask. I haven't tried it with two rods at once, doing this helicopter cast. That would be just downright stupid, actually. Because it's never caught me a fish. However, it might. And I'll explain why. I'm going to put that rod over there. I'm going to put this rod over here as well. Because I thought it might be a good idea to talk about what we take out fishing with us. Now, if I'm going out and I'm fishing the River Lynn for a day, I'll be clambering over boulders. That's why I've got these things on here. It saves my knees. We of a certain age, it's time to get a little bit creaky. One or two of you might know, not many of you, I'm sure, but you know when bending down and getting back up again is slightly less easy than it once was. That's a delicate way of putting it. And I don't know if any of you have felt the way to this. Oh, there you are. You look strong, lady. No, that's quite a pack, isn't it? But as soon as I put it on my back, because it's made in exactly the same way as a trekker's airbag would be, I'm really mobile. Off I go. Now the important thing is the contents. Now this thing that's just bounced out here, that's for telling me what the fish have been eating. It's almost like a little, it's for, I suppose you could use it as a turkey baster, or a very small turkey. But you just put some water in there, depress it, and you can put your fish back, so that's in there. Book to monitor it and to tell me where things are. Brochures, so I can tell you all about fishing for schools. One of these things has been banned by the FA, snood, but jolly useful, keeping you warm. A lot of your stuff goes out, a lot of heat is lost up there, so you want to keep warm. Spare reel, always important, because that might foul up. And, I've got this dangling from it. This is called amadou. It's actually a birch fungus. Now in the back here, hat, absolutely crucial. My glasses are back up there actually, so they would come with me. Mittens, because you don't want to get too cold, and if it gets suddenly cold out there. And of course, one should never go anywhere without a spare bit of toilet paper. There it is. You never know. You never know. That's really come handy. One of the worst moments, I didn't talk about this, sir, sorry, I perhaps shouldn't really. I was caught a little short in Canada last year. Who didn't necessarily agree with me, and there I was contemplating the use of this stuff. And the trouble is out there, you're very aware of bear attacks because you're fishing right where the bears are. So there you are, minding your own business, trying to make yourself, shall we say, comfortable. And you suddenly realise at that moment just how precarious life is if a bear came out of the woods. Because there is no way that you could get away. There is absolutely none. Anyway, we don't get many bears on the River Lynn, thank goodness. Pumas, black cats, big cats, probably. Right, hand sanitizer, good idea. There's all sorts of stuff in here. It's like the TARDIS. And of course, we might be fishing after dark, and therefore a torch of some description is not a bad idea. It'd be a good idea if I turned it on. So that fits round, oops, there we go, that goes round there. So my hands are free. That's a really handy thing because I can just angle it down, time the fly, away I go. Really useful. And then we've got fly boxes. Oh, I have got glasses here, look at that. I knew they'd be in here, always keep a spare pair. It's about as cool as I ever get. I'm reminded by my son. Now, when I am fishing, and this is a word of caution and warning to everybody, for goodness sake, whatever you do, make sure that you protect your eyes when you're going out. When you're fishing in any sort of capacity, whatever you're fishing for, just one misguided moment and you could send a fly into your eye, or you could a hook, it doesn't matter. Just by the case of wearing those, just to help you look through the water is a good idea, but this is eye protection as well. So I've got bits of wool on there, so it's not so much a problem, so we'll put those over there because they're actually quite expensive ones. But don't fool with that. And that's what I keep in this pack. That's why it's so heavy. Of course, in the front are all my fly boxes. Sarah thought this was a tennis racket. You can tell she's a keen fisher, can't you? Some tennis racket. You need a very